8 mice. That's all it took to end a civilization. No predators, no disease, unlimited food, unlimited water. A world built to be perfect. By design. And every single one of them was dead within 5 years. No virus, no starvation, no cause of death any doctor could ever name. They just stopped wanting to live. This is Universe 25. And what happened inside that box might be the most important warning ever recorded. It's 1968. American scientist John Calhoun has one question consuming his entire life. What happens to a society when nothing is hard anymore? He spent 2 decades building the answer. Barn enclosures, forest habitats, laboratory rooms, 24 experiments, one after another. Each time he built a paradise, no scarcity, no threats, no escape. And each time he saw the exact same pattern. Population explodes, violence spikes, then total collapse. He documented it 24 times. The 25th was meant to be the final clean proof. Inside a federal research lab in Maryland, Calhoun built a 9-foot square enclosure, stacked apartments along every wall, tunnels connecting all of them, hoppers that never ran empty, water bottles that never ran dry. He calculated it could comfortably hold 3,800 mice. It would never come close to that number. Day 1. 8 founders placed inside. The lid shut. For the first 104 days, almost nothing happened. Then the first litters arrived, and the population started doubling every 55 days. By day 315, over 600 mice packed the enclosure. This is the moment everything started breaking. In a normal colony, when population outgrows territory, mice leave. They find new ground. Inside Universe 25, there was no new ground. Young males with nowhere to go and no role to fill drifted to the center. They formed listless pools of bodies. Calhoun watched them for hours. They had no fights to win, no females to court, nothing to defend. When attacked, they didn't fight back. They absorbed it, then walked away. But not all the males went quiet. A second group formed, frantic, indiscriminate, unstoppable. They forced themselves into occupied nests. They ignored every social rule. And in the worst corners of the colony, behaviors appeared that no functioning mouse society had ever produced. Calhoun also noticed something he called the behavioral sink. Even with food spread evenly everywhere, mice crowded compulsively around just a few feeders. They couldn't eat alone anymore. The social instinct had become so warped that an empty feeder, no matter how full, was useless. And all the while, the mothers began to fail. Defending a nest took constant energy. The males who held territory grew exhausted. They stopped protecting their families, so the mothers had to defend while still nursing. They broke. They abandoned their pups in random spots around the enclosure. Some forgot which pups were theirs. Some stopped recognizing them entirely. In the worst sections, fewer than 1 in 20 newborns survived to weaning. Calhoun wrote that by this point, the social fabric of the colony was effectively dead. The bodies were still alive. The structure that held them together as a species was not. The pups that survived were raised by mothers who barely cared whether they lived. They had no model of what a functioning life looked like. And when they grew up, they were unlike anything Calhoun had ever seen. The males never fought. They never tried to mate. They never engaged with any other mouse at all. They ate. They slept. They groomed themselves obsessively. Perfect fur. 0 scars. Because they never got into a single fight. Calhoun named them the beautiful ones. Externally, the healthiest mice in the colony. Functionally, already dead. They had opted out of the species entirely. Day 560. Population peaked at 2,200. It would never go higher. The last successful conception inside Universe 25 happened on day 920. After that, no new mice were born. The beautiful ones kept grooming. The isolated females stayed in their high apartments. Violence continued in pockets with no purpose left to it. One by one, they died of old age with nothing coming up behind them. On May 23, 1973, the last mouse in Universe 25 died, 4 years and 10 months after Calhoun shut the lid. He wrote that the mice had died 2 deaths. First came the death of the spirit, then the death of the body. The first one happened years before the second. When the paper dropped, the world ran with the obvious reading: comfort kills, abundance destroys. A life without struggle ends in extinction. But that wasn't what Calhoun actually said. His real conclusion was right there in his own words. If the number of individuals capable of filling meaningful roles greatly exceeds the number of roles available, only violence and disruption can follow. The killer wasn't comfort. It was the disappearance of meaningful roles. The food never ran out. The water never ran out. What ran out was something nobody had thought to put in the paradise to begin with. Friction, purpose, a reason to be here. Comfort didn't kill them. It just removed the thing that made being alive feel like something. Here's the part almost nobody quotes. Calhoun wasn't a doomer. He spent the rest of his career not predicting collapse, but trying to prevent it. He kept building new universes, kept changing the variables. He believed the answer existed. He wrote, "As physical space contracts, the only way forward is to extend into conceptual space, into ideas, into networks, into building roles that didn't exist before." He called it ideational generativity, a long phrase for a simple idea. The way out is to keep making new reasons to be here. The mice had no choice. We still do. What happens next is on us.